talked about the health benefits of coffee yesterday, so it's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's good for you if it's black, and it's good to stop by like noon or 2 if it doesn't affect your sleep.
That's what I do. It's black and I'm done by 10.
10 p.m.
No, a.m.
Oh, really?
I only drink 1 cup.
Really?
Yeah. You thought I drank coffee all day?
I mean, I've seen you drink coffee all day.
If I'm like hanging out at the house and like whatever, but this is the only cup I have all day. I won't make another cup. But if it's like on the weekend or and I have company over, I might have another cup.
Yeah. Well, cheers to your only cup of coffee today. A nice cup.
This is Christmas, I think, from Esma.
She's a good gift giver.
She's a good gift giver. It's having kids is tough. Teenagers. I've spent most of my parenting life being like, oh my God, my daughter's easygoing, amazing. There's no problems. And now I'm like, what? And it's not that bad, but it's learning how to deal with all the things that I probably put my mom through. So I was predominantly raised by my mom. So, but yeah, I mean, it's great. And so, yeah, that's an Esma gift. And, it feels like I've had some background because I was talking to some people the other day about work, and I'm like, it's almost like herding cats. We're over 50 employees now, and it's a lot. It's a lot of action as far as like where people are going, how they're getting there, what they're doing when they get there, who's managing them, who's not managing them, who needs extra guidance, who doesn't need extra guidance. And then the almighty accident, of like everything's different now. We've found a concealed condition. We found this, we found that. So it's a lot of action. It's constant. This is our busy time of year. People are anxious about getting their jobs built, started, completed, because it's spring. You want to kind of like clean out and start new or whatever. And that's at least how I feel. And so we're like to the extreme. The pedal is pushed all the way down.
You're like Flintstone style, right? All the way through the bottom of the car, just
yes,
digging into earth.
I'm dry. I had to get a different truck because I think my fuel bill was like pushing $3,000 a month.
Just your bill?
Just mine.
Whoa.
And I was like, ooh, I was like, that's too much. And so I've got a little baby truck now that I'm using, and people don't know who I pull up, and it's kind of interesting.
Who's the new guy?
yeah. And I also see more things because they don't know it's me.
Oh, you're sneaking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've seen a couple things that I wouldn't normally see. The thing of it is everybody's human. So I could get really upset about that stuff and blow a gasket and show my ass and create potentially a small mutiny. Or I can let myself take it in and understand that everybody's human and that, we'll deal with this in a different way than a full-blown explosion, because those don't do anything good for them or me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going good. We got foundations going in after foundations. Our foundation guy, Garcia, we've worked with for a long time. He's doing great, keeping pace. And the framing crew is crushing it. And certain people will know when I say this, we might have landed quite possibly the biggest job of our entire life.
What? Again?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a weekly thing at this point. It would, if I wouldn't be on the podcast, if it was a weekly thing, I'd be on like Key West, like with the whole crew. Like, let's all move to Key West. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, it's a big one. I can't talk about it yet.
Cool.
But it's a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Luke has been a big part of it. Courtney, all of us really. I mean, the reason we're even being entertained for a job like that is because of who we are and what we've done.
Oh yeah.
And it's a really interesting thing because we've been beat out on some bids recently on this project, and it didn't go well with the other people. And so they came back and they're like, we need you. What's it going to take for the next 10 to 15 years? And I was like, well, just start talking about it. And we've had some good talks. So I'm pretty stoked.
Seems like that happens a lot with Omnibuild, where there's times where people come and you bid them out and they go with the lower bid, and then you get a call months or years down the road like, hey, what's it going to take? We've got problems.
Yeah. It's happened multiple times. Or the other thing of like, we were too high and then we made a mistake. We should have went with you because now we realize it wasn't that you're necessarily higher. You're just maybe doing better work or using better materials or something like that. And that's not all the time. That's a selective few times, but this one was pretty cool because it's a very big job, very high end. And I finally got to meet with the owners of it, and that was a good experience actually. And I was nervous, but I was just myself, and I didn't have to put on a show or nothing. We just do what we do.
Nice.
I said there's no, I'm not in this meeting by accident. It's because of our proof of work, and our reputation. So, but yeah, no, I think we're excited about this year. We're bringing in new people, and we just had a meeting the other day because we're implementing this new kind of division of our company of we've talked about the team approach and training project managers and things like that, and we have a new position in the company of a supervisor role. And so we have one of the guys that's been with us for a long time and in that role, and then a new guy that's come in, and now we're figuring out how it actually works.
Yeah.
I think it's like weird in my mind. I like think that's how it's going to work. And then a part of me imagines that everybody should just know that. And like, why don't you guys get it? And I have to be able to take it out of my brain and have enough time and energy and acceptance to like pull it out, and the acceptance part of it is that in my company, like we met with majority of the project managers in the company to discuss the supervisor role. And because I don't want it to be a dictatorship where I come in and I'm just like, this is how it's going to be. I mean, I throw what I have to say against the wall, and if it sticks, great. But we all sat together to try and work through it and figure out how's this really going to work. And that's the acceptance piece, is me being able to sit back and hearing what everybody has to say and making the space for people to discuss it, in a way where they feel like they're heard. And I think that's what's worked really well for us, is that you have a voice in the company, there's a lot of times where it just has to be me because it's too critical and too insane. But certain times it's like, and this is a good one. Like, I think we're going to fill a huge void, and if project managers can do another job because they have a lot of supervision help, then we can do a little bit more. We are looking for some carpenters right now too.
Oh, good. Shout out to all the carpenters looking for work in Floyd.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Join the force.
How do you manage that as a business owner, bringing in someone who's high level qualification into a company where you already have pretty high level employees? How do you operate with that as a business owner?
We usually start by having a company meeting and then building a ring out back, and then we duel it out. It's a full fisticuffs. Like, whoever wins is the top.
MMA, octagon.
Yeah, OMMA. But yeah, it's a tricky thing. And this guy I hired, Cody, he's very good. He's very humble, which was a trait. Like, I know a lot of very good builders that I care about and like would do a lot for, but I don't think they'd be the best fit as an Omnibuild employee. And that's okay. Like, either they've had their own company for too long and it's a hard transition to work with a company when you've had your own, whether you're working by yourself or with one other individual. That's just a tough transition I've seen over the years. But with Cody, he's pretty humble, and he's able to like hear things out and feel like a part of the team. And I knew that about him, and I knew it would work. So the first step, I think, is me doing my due diligence to make sure I'm not inserting an asshole in. And that's just honest. It's like I tell people in interviews, like probably the first thing is attitude. And that's kind of translated through the company. Like you can have all the experience in the world and not fit, and you could be, we've had that. I had probably one of the most experienced people overall ever, and they've worked for themselves practically most of their life. It did not work. It just didn't work. And it's okay. We're still friends, luckily, I think. I hope. Maybe he's listening to this and he's like, that's me. Yeah. And we're not friends. I don't know. I consider ourselves friendly. And awkward, but that's all right. We got to be honest.
Leave a comment. Are you friends?
Yeah. Are we? Don't comment on public.
DM.
Yeah. So, and it was an interesting thing. I learned a lot. And like, it's like, I like look at my life and business. I didn't go to school to be a construction guy. I've taken lots of construction classes over the years. I just got back from Nashville taking a class. And I'm going back to Nashville in 3 weeks to take another class. So I've learned a lot, but it's like school hard knocks at times. It's like you kind of hit a wall and you're like, and then you got to move through it. Or I don't like to move through it in the aspect of I'm knocking it down like I'm having a panic attack and freak out. But like I like to move through it as I'm dealing with the issue and then try to figure out what the actual issue is. And in that, in circumstances, I realize that I really need to be careful because I could be super excited about hiring somebody that probably isn't the right fit for the fam. And no matter if they know more than everybody in the company or as much or enough, it still might not be the right fit. And I learned that. I hired a guy recently too who had a very foul mouth and nobody wanted to work with him. And I was like, this is going to disrupt a lot because I can't move you around. They don't want to do it, and I was surprised, but by everybody feeling so affected by it, but it felt like a real thing. And I was like, I got to deal with it. And those are the hard decisions as an owner. You can't keep somebody around that's poison, for the system. And just because that doesn't work here doesn't mean it doesn't work for them in other environments and processes that they're going to go through, so it's not like we're like the top of the whatever the hell it is, and that if you don't work here, you don't work in life. It just, we have a model and it's working, and that's why people like working here. And I don't know many other construction companies around that have that many employees, that, and that's one of the reasons people come to us, because we're not subbing everything out. We're in-house mostly.
Yeah, and you can have all the experience in the world, but if you don't match the culture of the company, then that experience isn't going to play out in a positive way.
Yeah.
So it's important that when you bring someone in to a high level position, you're vetting them out first to make sure they're going to fit in that culture and not disrupt that family community environment and mesh well with what's already happening. Yeah. So that they're accepted, and then they can also bring forward like their experience that you want them to bring forward, but not put their experience like in front of everybody like it's something they can tout.
And, back to your original question about like, how do you deal with that? Bringing somebody in with more experience, more seniority than people have been here for a while. It's introducing them to the process, like introducing the Millers and the Orions and, the Ians and Chris and, all the people like, hey, this guy is this job. It's not necessarily more important than your job or less important or whatever. It's just a job in the mix, and I try to, and it really is that way. Like project manager may sound like, oh, I have to get there because that's at the top of the mountain. But project managers don't have jobs if, Ian's not managing a very custom frame up, or Justin Miller's not out in the field, lining out the next 25 steps on a project, or Orion's not wrapping up a really custom trim job, or, something like that, or Graham's not like, figuring out complicated issues on a job. It's all part of it, down to like Michael picking up a dump truck on Friday and doing a dump run so that we're ready on Monday morning, or, the people cleaning up and building yurt decks at Floyd Fest. And it's the whole team, and I try to make sure that everybody knows that, and we do this thing a lot where we help each other build homes, and that's a big deal. I mean, we have 2 employees this year are going to build homes, and we're all going to work. We're all going to like donate time, or I'm going to help pay for time, or we're going to try and pull materials out of the shops and make it happen and build them a house at a fraction of the cost. I don't know what fraction it is, but it's a lot less. And it's, a fun team building experience. And we've done that many times over the years. I think that that's all a part of it. I don't think it's like one thing. I think it's the culture you build, and if you have the togetherness in your company, you're going to get a lot more out of it, and I just had a recent review, and, reviews for me, it's like a really good opportunity for me to talk about everything. And I started off, I was like, I learned this from another project manager that I work with. And it's kind of cool that, you may in your mind just by nature think that you've learned almost everything you can because you've been at the front lines for 15 years, trudging the happy road of destiny, and it's like, then somebody that walks in and it's their like first 4 weeks of project management and they say something and you're like, good point. And one of the things that they said was, when you're critiquing what somebody's done that's not great, is follow up with a compliment, and that's basics, man. And I know that, but I haven't heard it in a long time like that, or ever. And it was like, oh, and now I say it all the time in my mind. Like when I go into a review and I need to critique somebody about what's going on, because that's what happens a lot in a review. You talk about the improvements you can see, that you want to see, the improvements that you have seen, the problems that you're experiencing and what they can do better, but then following up with what they've done well, because I think it's important. And if what they've done wrong is like this and what they've done great is like this, it's still important to capitalize on that moment, because growth, it's like they always say, babies have to learn how to crawl before they walk. And some babies crawl for like 4 months, and some babies crawl for a long time, and some babies don't crawl very much at all. And you have to know that everyone you're dealing with, to a degree, is like that. And you may need to say it 6 times or 6,000 times before they get it. And, I have to learn some patience with it and know that stuff is incremental. And when I talk to them in a review process, is like, if I'm critiquing something that they're maybe doing that I don't like, I have to follow it up with a solution. I can't say, do this, do this, do this, and then leave and be like, you're a great guy too, or woman. And, I have to be like, you're not being as productive as you could. Let's figure out why, because initially they're going to be upset. Like, fuck, man, I'm doing the best I can, and what happened in this instance was, it's like, well, how can we increase production? Do you have a meeting on Monday and talk about goals and guidelines, or are you working blind? If you show up to a job and you have no goal in sight, that's how your mentality is going to be. But if you show up to a job and you say, all the doors and windows have to be in this week, you have a goal now that you've set, that everybody's working towards, that feels really good when you accomplish it. If you accomplish it early, it feels even better. It's like, fuck yeah, we just hammered this out. We just punched this job in the face. But if you never have that goal, you can't achieve it. Even if you go, like, to say, we got to get all these windows and doors in on by Thursday, because our work weeks are Monday through Thursday typically, and you don't, and then you hit it on Monday, you're going to want to get it done faster on Monday. It's not going to keep dragging. Like, it doesn't matter. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to instill in everybody is have those meetings on Monday. Don't have that meeting in your mind on Monday on the way to work. And then on Wednesday afternoon, have a freak out. We're supposed to be done by Thursday. We got to get, and then you've never told anyone that, So it's about, I'd rather my team spend 5 to 30 minutes on Monday morning reviewing what is on the docket for the week so that they can set some goals. I went to a frame job the other day and they said, we got to get this floor framed in a day. And I was like, there's no way possible. They stayed for an extra hour and a half and they got it done. And I was blown away, and I was like, that's pretty badass. And that's a good feeling. I mean, yeah, you're tired, but you just kicked ass and took names. And I think personally, I'd rather go home feeling that way than not knowing exactly what I'm supposed to get done or what my goal is or how long I'm going to be on this job.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important, like you said, when you're reviewing your employees and giving them feedback on what they need to improve on, you're showing them that you see where their faults are or where their shortcomings are. And so by giving them a positive cap on the review, you're also showing them that you see the other side of it too.
yeah,
And I think that's important for people to feel seen and not just feel like attacked or like you're coming down on them. It's really hard because you have to be that way as an owner to show them the path towards progress. But I think people need to feel validated, like, okay, well, he did compliment me or whatever. And
well, it's a really funny thing because, like, I don't know, in Floyd, I consider myself a large company. In the universe, I consider myself a small company. And I look at companies with hundreds of employees and thousands, and I'm like, holy and the other day I was on a job and I critiqued something with somebody and I thought the conversation went well and I perceived it to going well with this person. And as I was walking away, I realized that I don't know much about what's going on with this person in their life right now. And I don't necessarily need to, but it's a nice thing to connect with somebody on that personal level. And I turned around and I said, hey, how's your family doing? And they were like, what? And I was like, how's your family doing? And they were like, oh, they're doing pretty good. And then they started showing me pictures of their daughter and talking to me about birthday, and it took 5 to 10 minutes and it was great. And afterwards he said, thanks for asking me.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was a little thing that has a lot of value, because I think that it's tough for me to know if people know how many different things that I have going on in a day. And I used to say it all the time. I'm so busy, I can't even, blah, blah, blah. I try not to as much anymore because I don't want to set the notion that I'm unapproachable or like you can't talk to me because of that. And so I'm constantly like, I sent somebody a meme the other day of Monday morning emails and it's like a million arrows hitting this guy and just like falling, spiking, dude. And that's what it feels like, but daily. It's like if I'm in a meeting for an hour, after that meeting, there's 15, 20 texts, few phone calls, and a lot of emails. And it's a lot, and it's constant. It's just, and I'm trying to walk to the office from my truck texting and emailing. I'm walking to the bathroom texting and emailing, trying to stay ahead of it so that it doesn't bog me down, and certain people have come into my life like Brooke and Christy and Courtney and Deb and Rye, and they've done a very good job of shielding me over the years of trying to take that off. One of the greatest things we ever did was take my number off of our signs, my cell phone number, and put the company line. And Brooke does a good job of following through with that stuff, And she's learning it. It was AI, man. Phew, we talked about that last week, and then I think AI is like working on scams now too, because we've been getting some epic scams
Mm.
that seem so authentic, like job requests.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I've been training Brooke for a while, like and incrementally over a while of like how to look for good jobs, because sometimes we'll get 30 jobs
Mm-hmm.
in a day. That's an extreme day, like where there are calls coming in and stuff. And I'm teaching her how to ask some of the questions, because some people aren't really serious. Some people are fishing. Some people are trying to actually sell us something, so try and teach her how to navigate through that. And then I had to go to Nashville for 2 days of intensive training for my licensing, leveling up, always trying to improve our education and our licenses. She called me at the airport or texted me, and I'm walking through, and I had, I don't know, 40 books. I mean, it has a lot of crap, and it's heavy, and I'm like trying to get through. And she's like, I really need to talk. And I was like, okay. And like, she's like, it's a serious job. And she sent me the email, and I was like, this is great. Excellent work, Brooke. Like, I'm gonna like let them know I'll sit down in a quiet area in the airport and talk it through, and all jobs are important, like, but it's exciting when you get a job that seems exciting. And AI, I'm pretty sure, wrote this email based on all the most exciting things I've ever talked about. And like sent me like the most epic email of all time with a job link to like a upcoming job in Floyd.
Mm.
And I was so bummed. I was like, wow, I'm glad, number one, I didn't get like contaminated with some virus or hacked, because we didn't open the link.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also like super bummed because I was like thinking about that job all class long. Like, I hope they call back. And then Brooke, we talked on Friday, and she's like, yeah, I think it was a scam. And I was like, you know what? Good job. She's picking up on that stuff. And like, it's just hilarious that that's the world we live in.
That's scary and funny.
Like like I think about like when I was younger, there was this scam of like a prince from Saudi Arabia trying to marry my grandma, on a phone call. Like, and
Just
some
with the
people,
wire money.
yeah, and some people fell for it. But nowadays it's on a different dimension.
Yeah.
And what I was talking about with my team the other day is like, we have an online presence, we have a Facebook presence, we have a social media stuff. I mean, we won an award for the company, so it's like we're getting out there, where I think that's going to be happening a lot more. So we're going to have a whole debrief with our new networking person about security.
Yeah. You need to like say now that you're never going to ask people to invest in a cryptocurrency or
Yes. I'm
reach
never
out.
going to ask anyone to invest in anything.
Okay, there you go. You said it. So
Yeah.
when AI tries to impersonate you, that's the disclaimer.
It's pretty hilarious. I mean, it's scary, actually. I was just like, oof.
Scary and hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but just so AI. I love AI. Don't kill me with your robot. Just
Nice.
Yeah, I cross my fingers if you're not watching.
You weren't supposed to say that.
It's the times evolve, and I'm like always like, it's the worst it's ever been. And I think like my parents were saying that when I was 6, as far as politics and weirdness in the world. So I think that's just what we say, and I think I've come to the conclusion that like 5 years from now, I'll probably be saying the same thing about a different set of problems. And I think that it's just evolution, and it feels like it's moving really fast. And we'll see. I feel like I'm in a pretty safe zone. Not for like, I'm not talking about apocalypse or anything, but like where I can remove myself from the intensity of the world. Like going to visit my mom in Connecticut and all that stuff. It's crazy up there. And I feel like I'm very influenced by the intensity of what's going on in the world. and here in Floyd, Virginia, but don't move here. It's
Unless you want to build a custom house.
well, yeah, but I feel like I can avoid a lot of that intensity that's going on in the world and just kind of move through it, you know. And I love working on the land. That is my dream.
You're living the dream.
I'm living the dream. I just want to go out and cut trails and pick up sticks and cut firewood and rake up walnuts and like look at my neighbor's cattle and pretend I'm a cattle farmer for like 2 minutes and be like, 9 cows over there. Because I've always secretly wanted to be a farmer as a kid.
Secret's out.
What's up, man? Who wants to help me farm?
I'm down.
It's not going to happen, but I have farmer friends. Then I feel cool when I hang out with them. So if anyone wants to give me a farmer hat, like, let's go.
Don't you have like 100 of them?
I need 101.
Yeah, that's true.
I need all the farmer hats. But yeah, I don't know. I did get an elk tag too for this year, so I'm doing an elk hunt again.
Sweet.
Yeah, I guess it's tough on the fam, but
what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah. Well, I will encourage Rye to do something good, and you know, she's very supportive. She's the best of the best. I mean, we have a very good relationship, and I was very nervous. You know, she works now with us, and I was very nervous about that. And I don't know why. I think it's because, you know, I had autonomy at work. Like I can go and have this separate thing, and we didn't have to talk about it as much at home. Like I would be like, oh, it was a hard day, or oh, it was a great day, or I landed quite possibly the biggest job. Because I say that a lot. And I think it's how I build myself up of getting the work. Like I have to look at every job like it's the biggest job I've ever gotten, whether it's like repairing a deck or like building a homestead. You know, it's like I have to look at it in that lens, or I'm not going to give it full optics. But you know, it's like working with Rye, we still go home and talk about work in a different capacity now, because she's asking questions and I'm asking questions that are directly related to work. So we're going to try to be careful of that, I think. But I will say, I think it's improved my relationship. I enjoy it. And I like bringing her into the fold and having her support. And she's easy on the eyes when I go in. I'm like,
oh, dang.
I'm good. I'm real good.
Life is good.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I mean, as a part of the extended family of yours, going to your home and having dinner, hanging out, I've always sort of admired that about you, not bringing work up. Like, I'm always careful because we work together in some capacity too, to not talk about work. And I'm always like,
I try.
And you just, you know, you seem to keep it away from home a lot. So I can see that being like a new challenge for you now that you have your closest person. I
go to counseling. They tell me to do that.
They tell you not to bring work home.
Oh yeah, it's like a big thing. My main focus in counseling is boundaries, because I violate them all the time. Like as far as like bringing work home or feeling upset about something that happened or whatever. It's like, you know, I lose a job and then my mind goes off to the races, and I need to have boundaries and be like, I lost a job, I'm moving on. And some of my friends do that, and I'm like, how can they do that? Why aren't you more upset? And they're like, why are you so upset? And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a good point.
Because I just lost the biggest job I was ever going to get.
Exactly.
I need to build that deck.
It's interesting. I mean, we lost a big one the other day, and I'm kind of glad, you know, fuel prices and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be the change order king, you know, I hate that. And I want to be honest and authentic, you know, in everything that I do. I went to one of our dear employees' birthday parties this weekend. It was great. I got invited. We weren't going to go because I was working on the land, and then my machine broke down. So I was like, well, I guess we can go. But that was like powers that be being like, you need to stop and go to this birthday party. And it was actually really cool because a lot of our employees were there, and it was fun to hang out with them. And one of the guys walked up and we were like, "What are you guys sitting here talking about work?" And we were dabbling, but I don't want it to be like that. I want to not talk about work as much as I can when I'm not working. And I've had to say that honestly, that's why I don't go to the farmer's market. I mean,
Can't even get a loaf of bread without talking about building the custom deck.
it's brutal, dude. I mean, after saying to people like 6 times, I'm not working right now. It's tough. And I know it's exciting to talk about, and I'm like, what's going on and everything, but it's a lot for me and my mental overload. And I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. I wouldn't be doing it at this capacity and working through the hard times. I have a hard email here coming in a minute that I've got to deal with, and it eats at me. And I'm like, what am I going to say? How am I going to do it? What are they going to think of me? How is it going to reflect on my reviews or whatever, and it's tough, but I enjoy what I'm doing so much that I take that stuff on and I'm like, let's go. I think truthfully, I do try to have decent boundaries around talking. I want to call like Courtney, because she's the business manager, all the time. And I look at my phone, I'm like, I probably shouldn't call right now. Or I should wait. Or this can wait till tomorrow or something. I try to get better at that. And the more that I remind myself of that, and the more that people around me help me, it's like Justin Miller being like, "Oh, we're over here talking about work." He has a great sense of humor if you understand it. And he's sarcastic. And I think I pick right up on that. And that to me is like, bink, yes, you're right. No, we shouldn't talk about this anymore. It's a good boundary to have. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I talked to my buddy Travis, not Crawford. Sorry, bro. I still love you. But my other buddy Travis from Extreme Concrete, he's awesome. I mean, I just called him because I was like, we worked through a pretty tough job together, and he had my back the whole way through. And that's just a good feeling, because you don't have as much of that. And that's one thing that like elders talk about, sometimes when I have like deeper conversations, is that it's a little more cutthroat, and I have a lot of people that have my back. So it's not just Travis, but he really helped me. And Ian was a huge part of that too. And Orion and Noah and a lot of other people. It was a very, very, very tough job. And it was just, I literally met my match. I mean, we've worked through some extraordinarily complicated things that were potentially not even possible. And now we didn't just figure it out in the back of an envelope. We have engineers involved and things like that. But this one was just different. It was very tough. And he stepped up in a big way to help me. And we finally nailed it and got it right. And a lot of it was due to his help. And I called him and I was like, man, that meant a lot. Like, thank you for helping me through that and figuring that out. And I won't forget it. And I owe you, a debt of gratitude. And it was just kind of cool to talk about that and having the follow up, about the tough jobs or anything, or even if it's not tough, you just pull off a great job. And you couldn't done it without that person, and honoring that, and I just think it's a cool thing to recognize, because it happens. I'm working through it now in an email chain of like people that I really care and love. Honestly, I worked with them for over a year, and I grown to liking them to the point of like interested in pursuing like a relationship of like, let's be friends, and then things have shifted and it's difficult, and I'm trying to find the words, not in this podcast, but like an email, and an email is very tough for me. I am not the greatest writer, and that's okay. I'm good at what I'm good at, and that's not writing. I do my best at it, and I have a lot of support around it, but I'm more of a sit down talk on the phone, on person preferably, and work things out. And I always want there to be a resolution, even if it's not 100% the best for everybody, because I want to know it's resolved, because like, I don't want to have hardships out there. I really don't. What I'm getting at and all that is the follow through is so critically important. That tough job has been going for a while, and it's an easy one to be like, I'm just not going to answer that email. And I've talked about this before, and those are the most important emails to respond to. Or I don't know if I got that text. I think I did, but I can't remember. I know I got the text. I know that I need to respond, and it's better to do and get it out of the way, and pull in the people that you trust and can do it, even if they're not like your direct employee or somebody you work with. In that case, it was with Travis, and he's just a great guy, and his wife's amazing too. And they have a really cool family, and everything that they do, and that to me showed me how authentic they are, and I'm glad to know the guy and his wife now, and consider them close. Yeah, I say it a lot. Relationships are everything. Everything. It's so important, and that's just not in construction. That's everything in life.
Absolutely.
It's easy to hide behind Facebook and all these different things, but to get out there and make yourself vulnerable and work through tough things, it's pretty cool what can happen even in the hard times. That tough job that we worked through, to me, improved my relationship with a bunch of people that work in Omnibuild, because everybody was involved to a degree, and it was next dimension stuff. I don't even know how to explain it. I wish I could, but it was very complex. So, and we nailed it. I could walk away feeling good about it.
That's good.
Yep.
You're dealing with texts, you're getting calls, and there's some that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a business owner, that's natural. Do you ever write the email that you want to write and then delete it?
All the time.
I do that all the time, where it's just like you write a saga of how you feel, and then you just delete it and write one paragraph after that.
I've been nervous about that lately, though, because I might send it by accident.
Yeah, it feels better when you write it in the actual email thread instead of just like a side offline. But I'm always nervous. I think the edge of like, well, I could send this, but I won't.
I think what I've actually done more of recently, though, is like think through the email without actually typing it, because I'm so nervous about sending it by accident. Because like, if I get up and come back and I'm like, oh, what's it? Click send.
Yeah.
And but yes, it is a good process for me. And I have a few very close people to me in my life, and I bounce things off of them. Probably too much, but they still pick up the phone. So, I mean, I have my brother, who's like a brother from another mother, Eli. And I don't think there's anybody that I could be closer to. I mean, we talk, I don't know, 4 to 5 times a day. And it's just a constant flow of processing for both of us. What's going on in his life, what's going on in mine. We own a business together. It's a lot of moving parts and pieces. And I think I have some other people in my life like that. And I think that is how I'm able to get clarity. It's weird. It's become to a point where the people I'm talking to aren't really saying you should do this. It's me talking it out loud. And as we're both talking, I'm realizing what I probably need to do. And it's a weird process, but I think finding those people that you can absolutely confide in and process in a way that's completely transparent. Because I think it's hard, when you're going through a hard time and you're talking to somebody you trust, you may leave pieces of it out because you may not want the full truth. And it's taken me a long time, and it's not being dishonest. It's just, when you call your friend and you're like, I fucked up on a job. There's a leak or there's something weird going on, and I can say like, I don't know what's wrong with this person. They're upset because what? But if I'm like really authentic and I'm like, I can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been building my whole life, and I've done super extreme stuff, and this is not that complicated. I can't figure it out. And I'm really honest to this person because I know they're not going to judge me. I know they're going to tell me an unfiltered truth. They're just going to tell me what they think. And if they don't know what the hell I'm talking about, they're going to say that too, you know? Um, that I get a lot out of that. And it's most of the time I figure out between what we're both saying, I figure out what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's a cool thing to have. I encourage it, and I think it's gotten harder over the years because a lot of people air their stuff out online. And that's their avenue. I choose to not do that. I see how it goes sometimes, and I think it adds fuel to the fire.
Mm.
But it's everybody's personal preference. If they want fuel on the fire and they want to handle it that way, then that is what it is. But I think that there's a little bit of a disconnect from that human discussion. And I think there's something so valuable in it. If you can find a person in your life that you can just have an unfiltered relationship with on all levels and just really process, it's a really cool thing. And I think it's helped me make better and better and better decisions over the years.
Yeah. What about relationships that you have? Because you started out young working in construction, your grandfather, your stepdad, then you worked for big companies. You had mentors along the way. Now you're at sort of the top of the food chain at your company. The importance of mentorship in the growth of starting a business, and now at the point where you're at the top, do you still have any mentors in
Oh,
your
yeah.
life?
I still call those people.
Yeah.
I call my stepdad, Pete. He's a genius. He's hardcore. They broke the mold when they made him. I mean, really, they really did. I mean, he taught me work ethic. He taught me a lot, but one of the things that he taught me was work ethic. I mean, he'd tell me when I was 9 years old, if you're coming to work with me and your uncle, you can't complain. And the first time you do, you're done. And I'd go, and at 2:00 in the morning, I'd be starving, and he'd hand me a piece of bread with peanut butter on it, and I'd just eat it and just keep working. And we worked like maniacs. And my uncle Joe Martino in Rhode Island, he's a very, 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 very high-end builder, and he understands a lot about it. So I defer and have deferred to him as well. Paul Lopezzo, who was the president of Traco Construction, which was Connecticut to New York, commercial mostly, who was very upset at me when I quit. He said, "You're next in line to be the president of this company," or whatever. It's a tough thing when I quit that job. I mean, he was freaking irate, dude. And I've had the courage to call him back and ask questions, and he's been awesome. And he's a beast, man. I mean, he is building high rises and hospitals and like the things that, I mean, he's running big time construction. It's not little stuff, like considering what I do. I mean, he'd look at what I do as little. And then Tom Liguori, my electrical teacher, we call him the wizard, dude. He's so good and so smart that it's like, is he doing the wrong thing? Should he be like a rocket scientist? He is really fascinated with space. So I don't know. I think he's in the right position. He's built a very successful life and has a beautiful family. And he's always takes my phone call, and he's hilarious. He was also not happy when I left, but yes, I defer to those people. And then I have other people, there are other tradesmen, Benny Harris, Abraham Telling, some of the people in our company, like Ian, has been instrumental in helping me through some really hard times. Justin Miller, Matt Pace, Courtney, Luke, Noah. It goes on and on. We all kind of defer to one another, It's like when I called Travis to help me with this concrete deal, they don't call him Extreme Concrete for nothing, dude. He's got an extreme concrete brain. He understands that stuff. He knows what's going on. He's extremely good. He's so I called them and we talked it out, and now we're friends, and I was humble and I was honest and he was, and it's kind of cool, So yeah, I think that keeping all those avenues open is so important, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important. I mean, and being loyal to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to open up a door with somebody and then exploit all their stuff. Like ask somebody about subs that they use and how they use them and then steal them all.
Right.
You want to be careful in how you do it. You want to be loyal and honest, like if I'm calling Travis from Extreme and I've been working with a different concrete company for my entire career because I never knew Travis, but I knew that he knew what was going on with this. I have to be real about what I'm doing and what my expectations are and all that stuff with him. So there's no false stuff. But, when we talked, we did talk about working together, and figuring that out. And we're going to have lunch and we're going to figure out a path forward together because I know what type of person he is. And I appreciate that. And if I land this big job, yeah, I'm going to need a big extreme concrete company.
Nice.
So
nice plug. So with you, mentorship isn't necessarily like the person that was a higher up. You're able to find people that are running their own businesses or friends you have, or even people in your businesses, your employees that you can pull those mentorship moments from.
Everybody. You just don't know where your lesson's going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get too big of an ego or your truck gets too big that you can't even see the ground anymore or whatever the hell is going on, like you're going to miss so many opportunities for growing and learning. Mm-hmm. And that's just what it is, And so I get tidbits of information from all sorts of people. And I think it's great. I was just working on a job where we took out somebody's weird mud room underground. It was moist and they had a patio failure and all that stuff. So we hammered it all out and got it. And then there's this hole in the house and in the basement underground. So we had to block it in and fill it. And I was talking to him through the waterproofing and, he suggested pouring a concrete cap underground over it. My initial thing is like, I got this, man. Like I know what I'm doing. I'm a construction guy. And then I left and I was like, that's actually a great idea. I was like, wow. And I called him back and I was like, Jack, that was a really good idea. We're going to do that. And I appreciate you saying that. And to me, that's one of those things where I could have wrote it off and held it, and been like, I do this all the time. I know best. What I'm proposing is going to work. But what he proposed was better than what I was. And that doesn't happen often. And often enough to where I probably need, have my awareness up on it. But I left that thinking about it and it ate at my mind and I did it. And it was a great job. Came out really good. I love when stuff like that happens. And that's the piece about being humble. It's really important to be humble in this trade and be open to the lessons and learning. That's hard too. Because we're all like little guys like driving around in big trucks.
Well, I was going to say, maybe driving a small truck is humbling.
It's changing. I have a small truck now.
Changing.
So it's changing. I do get embarrassed when I drive by my friends with big trucks. And I'm like, I still have a big truck. It's just hiding right now.
I've got two big trucks.
Do you want me to go get it right now and show you I still have it?
You're going to start driving your dump truck around when those gas prices go down.
Yeah.
I mean, I just started driving an e-bike because of gas prices. So you could
I can't
really
do that.
eat some humble pie.
I know. My brother's always like, "Oh, you gotta get electric." I'm just not ready to make the jump, dude. I can't. I drive 600 miles in a day sometimes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't find that many chargers, dude. And I ain't putting a generator in the back of my car. And I was like, this is not gonna work for me.
That's an idea, an electric truck powered by a gas generator.
I saw memes about it in California. I don't know if it's real because I don't actually know much about what is real and what isn't anymore. You know?
Do you think I don't want to put any pressure on knowing, but this big job you're talking about, do you think we might talk about it next week, or is it we're going to have to wait a while, let things iron out?
We're gonna incrementally introduce it because
Okay.
it's something that if I partner on and do, then it's gonna be a public thing and it's gonna be a big deal for a long time. So,
Stay tuned.
yeah, that's all I could say right now.
So that's good.
Yeah, if you know me, you can come and find me and try and ask me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but otherwise,
But not at the farmer's market.
who won't see me there?
Only during work hours.
Should I go to the farmer's market this weekend?
Only ask him when he's on his way to the bathroom or to his truck.
I'm texting or emailing. Oh yeah, well you can text me at that time. No, I don't know. I'm not going to the farmer's market this weekend.
Nah, you're gonna be on the land.
I will be. Yeah, which I'm sure people are like, "What's going on over there?" You'll find out, or not. No, we're not doing any divisions or anything crazy. We're building a road so we don't die pulling out of that place because it's super dangerous. And VDOT was like, "You need a different entrance. This is dangerous." So we're fixing it, and it'll look better when we're done. It's intense. It's intense for me. I go by and I'm like, "What the heck?" You know, but it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a bunch of wood chips.
Oh.
So if you want wood chips, let me know. So, like a lot of wood chips.
Comment wood chips.
Wood chips. So keep tuning in. Peace.
See you next time.